Okay, so this is the second video of today, and this topic here is going to reinforce the video that I made yesterday concerning Syria and its downfall. You know, a video that allows you guys to reintroduce you to General Bakshi over in India. So this particular video right here is one of my favorite, by one of my favorite guys. I mean, again, we talk about who influenced me to start this channel, and I use his format an awful lot. He's very informative, and he's connected to, he's the center of gravity connected to a larger center of gravity, should I say. This particular guy is Alex Christoforou. He's one of my favorite independent reporters. He can be found on the Duran channel over there with Alexander Mercurius, another person who had influence on me starting this channel. Alexander Christoforou, he was born in America, I think Kansas, something like that, but he's been living overseas. And Alexander Mercurius, I think he is, he's in London. I don't know if he was born in Germany, but he's in London. Right, so both of those guys had a strong influence on me. When I get my news information, I start there first, right? So the title of this video, and I'm gonna play his video off of Rumble. The title of this video is Israeli Tanks Outside Damascus. And where is Damascus at, or Damascus, however they pronounce it? Damascus, the capital of who? And why would Israeli tanks be rolling into Damascus? Okay, so Damascus is the capital of Syria that just collapsed under the Assad regime, right? Assad government, whatever you want to call it, right? But the title, Israeli tanks outside Damascus, comma, Graham. They're talking about Lindsey Graham, that neocon. That's a part of the Republican Party. Graham warns Turkey. Okay? Graham warns Turkey. Turkey is a NATO power. Turkey was very inspirational in the collapse of the Syrian government. This next one is Merz in Kyiv. Kyiv is Ukraine, the capital of Ukraine. Orban meets Trump and Musk. Talking about Elon Musk. When we say Orban, we're talking about Viktor Orban. Over in the EU, Hungary to be exact. So let's get into the video. And again, you guys have to watch that video from yesterday because the critical thinkers amongst us, you have to understand why Syria was overthrown, especially in the matter. Now remember this, yes, the government collapsed within the last 20 days over there, but this war started years and years ago. Right? It was started by the neocons over here in America. Remember yesterday we talked about the Arab revolutions, which, myself and others refer to as color revolutions, which are coups, the overthrowing of legitimate governments. Let's get into the story.
I want to address the issue that's in the headlines right now. I stand in full support and wholeheartedly agree with the statements that President Trump has made over these last few days with regards to the developments in Syria. My own views and experiences have been shaped by my multiple deployments and seeing firsthand the cost of war and the threat of Islamist terrorism. It's one of the many reasons why I appreciate President Trump's leadership and his election, where he is fully committed, as he has said over and over, to bringing about an end to wars, demonstrating peace through strength, and putting the national security interests and the safety, security, and freedom of the American people first and foremost.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, December the 10th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with an update on what is going on in...
Now, when I open this video up, I hope I said December the 10th and not December the 4th, but let's get into it. We know it's December the 10th, 2024.
Syria.
Listen carefully.
It looks like Israel is moving way past any type of buffer zone, and they are closing in on Damascus. I have read reports which claim that Israeli tanks are 20 kilometers outside of Damascus. There are other reports which claim that Israeli tanks are 12 kilometers outside of Damascus. HTS Al-Jolani, quiet, silent. He's not saying anything.
HTS Al-Jolani, that's the group that overthrew Assad, right? Al-Qaida. Al-Qaida. That's who these people are. Al-Qaida. Just listen.
Al-Qaida al-Nusra is not saying anything. As it appears, Israel is closing in on Damascus to do what? To capture Damascus? This is not a buffer zone anymore. This is way, way past a buffer zone.
This is Alex.
But the
right
IDF,
here.
they are denying these reports.
That's
that
my boy,
Israeli
man.
tanks
I love this dude.
are this close to Damascus. The U.S. State Department, they were asked about what is happening in Syria and Israel's invasion into Syria and proximity to Damascus. And the State Department spokesman, Count Chakula, he said that the U.S. supports Israel and they are supporting this operation, and Israel has a right to self-defense. This operation is about Israel's self-defense. So I don't think I need to talk about Ukraine or draw any parallels to Ukraine and the hypocrisy of the State Department vis-a-vis Ukraine and what is happening right now in Syria. I don't think I really need to get into that. Everyone understands what's going on. The countries of the Middle East, they're very upset at what is happening in Syria, and that Netanyahu is apparently moving into Syria and apparently about to capture Damascus. I don't know if that's what the plan is.
Bear in mind that Netanyahu has an arrest warrant, ICC arrest warrant out for him for war crimes.
Once again, the IDF, they deny these reports that they're close to Damascus. I can't confirm one way or another what's happening, but there's no doubt that Israeli forces have moved way past the buffer zone that they had carved out during the first few hours of the overthrow of Assad. They're way past that. Bombing, Israeli and U.S. bombing of Syria continues. A lot of bombing of Syria is taking place. They're bombing everything. They're bombing all of the military infrastructure, all of the airfields, the air bases, military facilities, air defense systems, you name it.
Remember when I just talked about critical infrastructure in my first video? The United States and Israel is wiping out the critical infrastructure of Syria, which is going to leave these people total. They're going to become slaves again, modern day slaves. They're sending them back to the Stone Ages. They're taking out all the critical infrastructure.
They're freaking bombing it. But the countries of the Middle East, they're upset with what Netanyahu is doing because they claim that this is sabotaging any chance that Syria had to achieve stability. How they're getting to this conclusion, the countries of the Middle East believing that overthrowing Assad and replacing Assad with al-Qaida would give Syria a chance at stability. I don't know how they're coming to this conclusion, but that's what they're saying. Netanyahu is coming in. He's filling the vacuum that we now have in Syria, or at least one of the vacuums that we now have in Syria, and according to Saudi Arabia, to Egypt and Qatar. They are saying that this is destroying any chance that Syria might have had at some sort of stability. Stability for Syria, that went out the window a long time ago, but it really went out the window when HTS captured Damascus. So now you just have a bunch of vacuums in various regions of Syria, and nature abhors a vacuum, right? So countries, neighboring countries, are going to move in to fill that vacuum. So those are the statements from various Middle East countries. Speaking of vacuums, Turkey and Erdogan, I wonder what Turkey is thinking about all of this as well. HTS is completely silent about what's happening with the Israeli invasion into Syria, but I wonder what Turkey is saying. Or was this something that Erdogan and Netanyahu agreed on? I don't know.
It was agreed upon. It was agreed upon because now, and we have to look at the larger picture. See, the European economies are shrinking. One of the reasons why they're shrinking is because of the energy problem that they have over there. See, they blew up that Nord Stream pipeline. When they blew that pipeline up, it stopped the facilitation of natural gases coming, cheap gases coming from Russia and being pumped over into Europe via Germany. So now they have to find, again, this is the ruling classes at war. They have to find cheap products, right? They have to find the natural resources, which is in Syria with no government. They're taking out all the infrastructure. They'll be able to roll their tanks and military hardware up off in there, and they're going to control those people for years. And this is what you get, right? So I wrote a couple notes down, right? See, this stuff started back with Obama, continued under Trump, and it continued under who? The Biden-Harris White House. Now it's going to go back to who? It's going back to Trump. So for all you people out there, I keep emphasizing the importance of understanding the international policies of the people that you put in power. The people of Syria are about to suffer greatly. Let's get on.
But Turkey is eyeing the Kurds, the areas in Syria which are controlled by the U.S.-backed Kurds. Now,
US-backed.
for Erdogan, Kurds in the region having the slightest chance, even the slightest itsy-bitsy chance of creating their own country, for Erdogan, for Turkey, that is the biggest of red lines. So Turkey is going to do everything in their power to make sure that whatever Kurds are in Syria, they do not have even the slightest of opportunities to create their own country. And Turkey is, I've actually read that that clashes actually have started between the Turks and the Kurds in Syria. But Turkey is looking at the areas that are controlled by the Kurds. And I have no doubt that Erdogan is very close to making a big move towards the areas that are controlled by the Kurds. But the problem is that the Kurds in Syria are backed by the United States. And Lindsey Graham, he posted on X that if Erdogan and Turkey dare make a move on the Kurds in Syria that are backed by the U.S. and the U.S. military, Lindsey Graham said that the United States will act against Turkey and they will immediately place sanctions on Turkey. He warned Turkey.
This is a NATO ally they're talking about attacking, throwing sanctions on. See how cutthroat they are? You see how cutthroat they are? The United States has nuclear weapons stationed inside of Turkey. In the Middle Eastern region, Turkey has the largest army. Iran has the next largest army, right? So These people are ruthless. Let's continue.
Turkey, don't do it. Do not do it. I know, Erdogan, that you're eyeing the region controlled by the Kurds. I know that you want to remove the Kurds. I know that you want to prevent the Kurds from being in the regions that they control in Syria. But Lindsey Graham said, don't do it. If you do it, right away we're going to place sanctions on you. That is what Lindsey Graham posted on X. So the situation in Syria, in just 24 hours, the situation in Syria is deteriorating very quickly. So we have news that the US and the UK are very close to lifting.
You're not a child, you're a man. So stop wearing so many layers to go outside and get the bearskin tactical hoodie.
This next report, listen to what he says. Now remember, they lied to us talking about there have been this Al-Qaida overhyped narrative that the US media just forced down our throats for the last 25 years. Listen to this.
The terrorist ban on HTS. HTS is an internationally recognized terrorist organization that now, for the time being, they control much of Syria. But the United States, they recognize HTS as a terrorist group. The UK the same. Russia the same. All over the world, HTS is recognized as a terrorist organization, officially recognized as a terrorist organization. And I was joking around 3-4 days ago when I was talking about the situation in Syria, and as HTS was trying to capture homes, I was just joking around saying, I bet you the United States is going to remove the terrorist ban on HTS. Sure enough, we're getting news today that the United States and the UK, the UK is going to do whatever the United States tells it to do, but the United States is very close to lifting the terrorist ban on HTS. Expected, the US, UK consider removing HTS from terror.
Okay, so right here it says US, UK consider removing HTS, which is Al-Qaida, from terrorist blacklist to deepen contact with Al-Qaida offshoot. It says HTS toppled the government of Bashar al-Assad on Saturday, accomplishing a long-time goal of U.S. foreign policy. So I keep telling you, you better look at the foreign policy, because as a result of the U.S. foreign policy that started up under Obama, continued under Trump, continued under the Biden-Harris administration, which is going to go back to Trump, millions of people in Syria are going to die as a result.
Blacklist to deepen contact with Al-Qaida offshoot. That's the title. To deepen contact with Al-Qaida offshoot. No surprise. No surprise there. How about this crazy title from Politico? Germany and France agree to work with Syrian rebels on basis of fundamental human rights. Western capitals are debating how to engage with the Syrian rebels, who are led by a group that is a designated terrorist organization, right? They're trying to figure out a way to work with Syrian rebels that are a designated terrorist organization. It's a roundabout way of saying that Germany and France are trying to figure out a way to work with Al-Qaida.
What does it sound like? Does it sound like they're about to install a puppet government in Syria? A government that they control? A government that not only they control, but a government that will allow for them to come in and steal the natural resources of the Syrian people? That's what it sounds like to me.
The title of this post from Politico should be Germany and France agree to work with Al-Qaida on basis of fundamental human rights. That should be the title of this article from Politico. They're twisting themselves up in a pretzel, aren't they? With this whole Syrian rebel thing, HTS, now that Israel is moving into the region, Turkey in the north, They're now trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we spin this? Should we continue to call HTS a terrorist organization, or should we remove the terrorist organization label? Should we continue to call them rebels now that they've removed Assad, which is what we wanted them to do? Now that they've removed Assad, should we continue to go with the whole rebel thing, or should we start calling them Al-Qaeda terrorists and jihadists? They're trying to figure out, what do we do now? What are the script writers going to tell us next?
This dude funny, man.
So let's talk a bit about Project Ukraine. Zelensky said that he is in no way going to lower the mobilization age from 25 to 18. It was 27, it got lowered to 25. A lot of pressure from the United States to lower that age to 18. And Zelensky is saying no.
Okay, so do you understand what he's saying right there? So the United States wants to lower the age of recruitment for soldiers into the Ukrainian army because the Russians have completely wiped out 4 rebuilt armies over there, right? So the only thing they have left now are the old men and the 18-year-olds and under. Now, of course, it's some 25, there's some people around, but these people are so desperate. They are so hell-bent on trying to deliver Russia a strategic defeat that they will send when we got pictures of pregnant Ukrainian women fighting on the front lines, fighting the Russian army, being annihilated, right? So they want to drop the age from, it started with 27, 25, now they want to drop it to 18 because 90% of the people in between got wiped out by the Russian army. So now they want to drop it to 18. Can you imagine this if something like that happened in America, which it probably will, because I'm telling you right now, the ruling class is going to fight to the last American, like they're trying to fight to the last Ukrainian. Let's continue. These people are bloody savages, man.
Zelensky actually put out a statement saying that what Ukraine needs is not a lower mobilization age. What Ukraine needs is more weapons, more money and more weapons. The United States, the State Department, they said that if Ukraine decides to lower the mobilization age, then absolutely the United States will arm the new mobilized soldiers to go to the front lines. That's the U.S.'s promise to Zelensky. It's Ukraine's decision, they said. Ukraine decides. This is what the State Department said. Ukraine decides. But if they do eventually decide to lower the mobilization age, then we, as the United States, we promise that we will give weapons and arm the new soldiers so they can go to the front lines and fight. BlackRock Mertz, as I said yesterday, made a surprise after the Kremlin gave him permission, appearance in Kiev, a surprise visit to Kiev to meet with Zelensky. BlackRock Mertz will most likely be the next chancellor of Germany come February, when we have an election in Germany. I believe it is confirmed that on February 23rd or 24th, Germany will have an election for the next chancellor. CDU, Mertz, most likely will win. He's in campaign mode, and he believes that if you're a German chancellor and you're in campaign mode, who do you go and visit? Should you go to the Bosch factory? Should you go to the Volkswagen factory? Should you meet with German workers or unions, or I don't know? Should you do that? Or should you get on a train and visit the Green Goblin? Well, we know the answer. He got on a train and he went to visit the Green Goblin, most likely to get a whiff of that Zelensky number 5. Mertz, while he was in Kiev, he had a bright idea. BlackRock Mertz had a bright idea. Very smart. That BlackRock Mertz, very, very smart. He said that the EU should create a contact group on Ukraine. They should put together, he said, a common vision, create a contact group of various countries, and they should find a way to continue to support Ukraine if in the event that Trump decides to walk away. That's Mertz's his bright idea. In this contact group, he says it should be Germany. I believe he said Germany, France, Poland. He said Poland and maybe the Baltic states. Do I have a quote from Mertz? Yes, I do. With the change of power in the U.S., there is a possibility we will have a new situation and we have to prepare for it, said Mertz in Kiev. We have to create a common strategy within Europe. Sitting across from Mertz, Ukraine's President Zelensky voiced support for the German leader's proposal and suggested Denmark, a robust military backer of Ukraine, also join the new contact group, a dedicated grouping of Ukraine's major European allies could work at finding a just and lasting peace in Ukraine, said Zelensky. I'm taking this from Politico, and I'm just curious who these countries that Mertz is talking about. Who are these countries that Mertz is suggesting? So Zelensky is saying Denmark. What is Mertz saying? Do I have this article bookmarked? France, Poland, Ukraine's major European allies should form an alliance aimed at agreeing on a common vision for peace in Ukraine. The leader of Germany's conservative opposition, Friedrich Merz, said during a visit to Kiev.
Why the U.S. Safety Commission wants to ban this baseball bat-shaped flashlight. Big retailers already banned this product from...
Merz is in the pole position to become chancellor. Yes, we know. It would include France, the United Kingdom, of course, Dahmer, of course, and Poland. All right, so this group of countries that would continue to support Ukraine, even if Trump walks away, according to Merz, it should be France, the United Kingdom, and Poland. And Zelensky is saying Denmark as well, because Denmark handed Zelensky a whole bunch of F-16s. That's BlackRock Mertz. Zelensky likes this idea. Zelensky's found a new champion in Europe. It's BlackRock Mertz. He's done with Pirate Schultz. He's now going to cling on to Mertz. Podolyak, I don't like this pirate anymore. I like this BlackRock guy. I like the way he thinks. We create common vision, contact group. And Podolyak, this means more money. I buy more homes. I like the way BlackRock Mertz thinks. So that's Mertz. With his plan to continue to support Ukraine without the United States. Never going to happen. If the United States pulls out of Ukraine, if Trump walks away, there is zero chance, I mean 0 chance, of Europe continuing to keep Ukraine afloat. 0 chance. Absolutely.
Okay, so let me stop right there. Okay, so again, let me reiterate. This is a war of the ruling classes. Trump cannot unilaterally make the decision to pull the plug on what we know as Ukraine. He can't do it. Do we not remember Lindsey Graham, again, that neocon, that Republican neocon, was it South Carolina, North Carolina, or Republican? He stated that Ukraine is sitting on 12 to 14 trillion dollars of natural resources. They're not going to walk away. 12 to 14 trillion dollars. Remember, we're talking about global capitalism here. We're talking about ruling classes of the West who have enjoyed minimal opposition for centuries. They're not, and you know, I talk a lot about the ruling class. I understand that you're not going to walk away. I wouldn't either. You know, you've been enjoying unmitigated opposition. No opposition. Period. No opposition. You've been allowed to colonize and rule the world for centuries, and now you have ruling classes from new nations that's challenging your authority. I understand. Trust me, I do. I really do. Let's get back to the story.
Absolutely zero, zero, zero. Not economically, not militarily. Zero chance without the United States. Mertz is clueless, man. For a BlackRock guy, he is pretty clueless. But he's going to be chancellor. So Musk posted an emoji on the video that came out yesterday. He posted a thinking emoji on the video that came out yesterday of Zelensky with his cabinet, where he said that he doesn't need Trump to get into NATO. What he's going to do for security guarantees in NATO, what he's going to do is he's going to go to the current president, to Bidenopolis, and he's going to go to Bidenopolis and demand that Ukraine gets into NATO, because right now at the moment it is Biden that is president, and that is what Zelensky said at this meeting. I don't need no Trump. I don't need Trump. I don't need Trump. I go to Biden. I go to Biden. I ask Biden, I want NATO. What do you think, Podolyak? I give Biden ice cream. He give me NATO. I think good deal. That is the statement that he made yesterday. And the video was posted by one of the accounts that posted the video was Mario Nawfal, who I imagine Elon Musk follows. And he put, I think this is a thinking emoji, right? It's not an angry emoji. Looks like a curious, what did Zelensky say emoji? And it's actually got community noted, this video. The post from Mario says, Zelensky, quote, I will ask Biden to invite me to NATO. There's no point in talking to Trump. There's no point in talking to Trump. And it got community noted, man. The community note says, Zelensky is simply saying that Trump cannot yet invite him to NATO, as Trump is not yet president. That's all Zelensky's saying, according to this community note. Just go to Biden and ask him, will you let me into NATO? Biden can say yes, he can say no. What if he says yes? If he says yes, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. Let Ukraine into NATO, and Trump can deal with it on January 20th. It's not a big deal. So that's the news there. And sticking with Trump and Musk, Orban visited Trump and Musk on Monday at Mar-a-Lago. Orban posted on X that he was in the USA visiting Trump and Musk. Actually, I think he said USA Today. That is what he said in his post. The USA Today, the future has begun. An afternoon in Mar-a-Lago at Real Donald Trump, at Elon Musk, and Michael Waltz. So the meeting was Orban, Trump, Musk, and the soon-to-be NSA guy taking over for Jake Sullivan, Waltz. The future has begun. Orban is the the point man. He is Trump's guy in Europe when it comes to Ukraine. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We've talked about this on the Duran. I think I've mentioned it on this channel as well. If Trump is smart, if he means what he says about winding down the war in Ukraine and getting the U.S. out of this conflict in Ukraine, if he really means it, then he is going to rely on Orban. Orban's going to be his guy. He's in Europe. He's in the EU. He's in NATO. He's a neighbor to Ukraine. He understands what's going on there. He understands Russia. He visited Putin. He visited China. He went to the U.S. as well. Orban is the best guy to consult with, to take the lead in trying to figure out a way to wind down the conflict in Ukraine. So let's do some clown worlds and we'll wrap this video up. And let's start off with this post from Trump. I can't believe Trump posted this, but he did post this. Donald J. Trump. It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all. DJT.
Okay, so we know that Justin Trudeau is the Prime Minister of Canada, but Donald Trump in his trolling said that Canada and Mexico are so dependent on the United States, then you might well just make them the 51st and 52nd state, and instead of prime ministers and presidents, they'll become governors. That's what he's talking about. That was funny.
I can't believe he posted this.
That was funny.
In writing. It was great to have dinner with Governor Trudeau of the great state of Canada. Man, Trump is trolling Trudeau. He's taking a piss at Trudeau. I don't know. I don't know what you call it. Mocking Trudeau, showing his disrespect for Trudeau.
That's what it is.
Wow. Trudeau, he said, let me pull it up here, that Canada should not freak out over Trump's tariff threat. That's what Trudeau said. One of the most important things for us to do is not to freak out, not to panic, Trudeau said at an event at the Halifax Chamber of Commerce on Monday. Don't freak out. Trust in big balls Trudeau. He'll be able to take on Trump. Don't freak out. Don't freak out, everybody. Don't freak out. I'm big balls Trudeau. I can handle Trump. Yeah, so that's what Trudeau said. That was his response to Trump's mocking, trolling, whatever you want to call it. Politico put out an article talking about air travel. Air travel in Europe. Flying over Russia, Chinese airlines win and Europeans lose. While European airliners are cutting routes, Chinese carriers are increasing connections with the continent. All of a sudden it hit them.
See, when the war started in Ukraine, then all of the European countries, most of them, banded together and said Russia couldn't fly over their airspace. So Russia in return said that European airliners can't fly over their airspace, but the Chinese airliners are allowed to fly over Russian airspace, and the European airline companies are saying that China has an unfair competitive advantage because whereas they have to find routes around Russia to fly their airplanes, Chinese is just flying right over Russian territory. Whose fault is that?
Them. That the banning of Russian flights into Europe, and then Russia banning their airspace to European carriers, that this would have some serious blowback on European airlines, it's now finally starting to hit them. 3 years later, they're finally coming to the realization, oh crap, we're losing money and our airlines are in big, big trouble. And the Chinese airlines, they don't have the restrictions that the European airlines have. In the article from Politico, they don't really get into any detail as to why this is going on. They mention the war in Ukraine and they mention Russia restrictions on air travel, but they don't get into the details. They fail to say that the first thing that Vander Crazy did, the absolute first thing she did when the special military operation started, was that she banned European airspace to Russian airlines. That was the first thing she did. And then she banned media outlets, Russian media outlets, from operating in Europe. That was Ursula von der Crazy. She thought this was going to be a good idea. And so what did Russia do? Russia said, okay, well, two can play at that game, and we've got a lot of territory. And we know that you guys in Europe have a lot of airlines that cross over Russia in order to get to Asia. Well, we're just going to ban our airspace to European carriers, and we will see who wins. And you want to know who has won?
Russia?
Well, Russia has won, but China has won. China is the big winner. They can cross over Russia. Their flights are faster, they're cheaper. And according to Politico, European airlines are in big trouble because they are losing a big, important, profitable market in China and Asia. And the latest airline to cut flights to China is the Polish airline LOT. They canceled in October the Warsaw to Beijing route. Scandinavian Airlines, they suspended the Copenhagen to Shanghai route. Lufthansa Group, they have dropped their daily direct flight from Frankfurt to Beijing. British Airways canceled London to Beijing. And Virgin Airlines, they canceled London to Shanghai. The final two paragraphs of this article quote the international airline director. His name is Waltz, the IATA airline director. He said that the closure of Russian airspace has nothing to do with safety nor with security, and said that the European airlines are the victims of politics. I would hope that we'll see an end to the war in Ukraine and that we will see a return to a more normal environment, he added. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I would expect that that's what everybody wants to see. Well, blame it on Ursula. She started this. She started all of this. That's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like the bomber jacket I'm wearing today. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Help me reach 221,417 subscribers on YouTube. Take care.
Man, his channel has grown astronomically. Him and Alexander's channel. But yeah, so, that's the last video I'm going to do for today. This video has already ran 43 minutes. Normally his videos don't last that long, but, he had to discuss the events over in Syria. So, again, let me know what you think about the content. And as the channel grows and as I put more information out there, hopefully, man, people start joining and giving me comments. But on that, man, we're going to be over and out. Peace.